What is going on with the political spectrum nowadays? There's no clear distinction on who is on what side at this point. We're in so much chaos and so much polarization that when it comes down to political identities, they basically mean nothing. I'm going to give you a couple of examples on how things are shifting so drastically. And I do think this is a larger conversation in terms of what it means to align yourself regarding your political ideology and if that means anything in the first place. Let's dive in by talking about a very, very prolific political personality, a guy that I despise personally, Nick Fuentes. Recently, Nick Fuentes went on his show and said this about Republicans and Democrats.
Something has gone horribly wrong. All of those people, with some exceptions, were never Trumpers in 2016. Shapiro didn't vote for Trump in 16. Mark Levin was critical of Trump in 2016. Where were these people when the movement was actually born, when those pillars were in place? Now all of those people are in the center. The movement is something else now. And what we need in 2028, this is our last chance. We need in 2026 for this administration to be shut the fuck down. What does this administration do other than cover up the Epstein files, embezzle money through government contracts, and bring us to war for Israel? This administration needs to be shut down immediately. Do not vote in the midterms. And if you do, vote for Democrats. Fuck this. That is what the Republicans deliver. That is what our golden age looks like. The tariffs were refunded. The deportations were stopped. They wound down and withdrew the ICE from Minneapolis. What does this administration do other than embezzle money, go to war with Iran, and bury the Epstein files? Oh, and blackmail Harvard so they police anti-Semitism and ban people who criticize Israel from being in America. This administration needs to be shut down immediately. It has forfeited its mandate. They promise no new wars. They promise mass deportations in America first, and we're not getting any of it. So shut it down. In 2026, shut it down. And our only hope is that in 2028, in the Republican primary, somebody will emerge who will actually put America first. I am not voting for the vice president and the secretary of state that brought us to war in Iran. I won't do it. 2026, shut it down. You got to burn the house down with them inside, metaphorically. And in 28, you better hope that somebody has a prayer to run the Trump strategy and do another hostile takeover over the GOP. Otherwise, I'm going to become a Democrat.
That's very interesting. Before we give commentary on that in particular regarding Nick Fuentes becoming a Democrat and what that really means, there's another personality that had very similar sentiments that also was a big Trump guy, and that guy is
Gabbard. Donald Trump, fuck JD Vance, fuck Marco Rubio, fuck Tulsi Gabbard. Donald Trump has made his bed. Like, this really is it. This game where there's Tucker Carlson and there's the majority of his base and there's Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly and, whatever. Donald Trump chose Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham and Benjamin Netanyahu, the most discredited, evil laughingstocks on the planet. That's who he chose to go all in with. So he's made his bed. Let him sleep in it. I hope the Republicans lose the midterms this year. They need to. For the country, they need to be and no one from this administration can be supported in 28. Fuck JD Vance, fuck Marco Rubio, fuck Tulsi Gabbard. She hasn't resigned yet? Fuck Tulsi Gabbard. Dude, the goddamn no war with Iran shirts that she was selling. How much money you make off those shirts, Tulsi? How can you not return that money?
So as you guys can see very clearly, the messaging from certain people on the Republican side has completely shifted, which was within expectation. I mean, there's no way you can, in good faith, look at what Trump is doing if you believed in the concept of no new wars, and especially the people who hate Israel can say that this is something that they asked for, that they advocated for. Now, it was clear to someone like myself and other analysts before the election was that Trump was lying. He was never going to abide by this. He 100% was going to get involved in international conflict. We knew that he aligned with certain people over others regarding the conflict. And we knew regarding Israel Palestine that he was going to be very aligned with helping Netanyahu in particular. Now, I do find it very fascinating that a lot of the people removing themselves from the Republican Party and telling people to vote Democrat is basically international affairs issues and Israel issues. It really begs the question, is our party really just dictated by whether or not you like Israel or whether or not you like Jewish people? I do kind of feel bad for people who are Jewish because they're just getting bastardized consistently left and right because of the affairs of the far right movement of the Israeli government and Netanyahu in particular. But that could be a conversation for a different day. But as we see, we got people like Dave Smith and Nick Fuentes turning their back on the Republican Party and saying that they would vote for Democrat or appealing to people to vote for Democrat, or at the very least, they're saying fuck the politicians that are in line right now. Who would be that magical character that appears for the presidential elections for 2028? That's not Rubio. That's not Vance. What is it? Tucker Carlson? Man, I would kill myself if Tucker Carlson ran for president. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have to scratch that. I would Minecraft myself. YouTube do not, I don't make money anyway. So YouTube, be nice to me. Okay. We're making our ways up. But we see people like this have this type of sentiment. And then we see things like this regarding the other very prominent figure in politics, Hassan Piker, who goes out of his way and says, come on, man. After there was a report of a terrorist attack from an Islamist shooter who wore a shirt called Property of Allah. And the response to Hassan was, come on, man, not condemning it, not saying this is good, not really caring about the people's safety. It's come on, man. And you can kind of read in between the lines, and people have. So they pulled out this. Hey, you own the same shirt. Hassan Piker wearing a Property of Allah shirt, because we know that it wasn't a statement made in the best interest of the people who are suffering over after a terrorist attack. It's because they were dare I say, using the identity of an Islamist as a means, not even as a means, in showcasing who the person who did it. And because this person had that identity of Islamist, Hassan Piker got very annoyed. And maybe he was even alluding to the fact that this was propaganda to tear down Islamists, of course. Now, I'm not in the camp of tearing down Islamists. There is good Muslim people. There's bad Muslim people, just like there is for every religion. But it really shows you where someone like Hassan Piker lies regarding the spectrum. His interest is not for Dems, it's not for liberals, it's not for the people. It's for very specific identities. And he's supposed to be pronounced as a person on the left, the person who's supposed to help Democratic votes. When we're talking about elections regarding Hassan Piker, his sentiment is not vote Dems, his sentiment is vote third party. It is kind of crazy when you think about how the political, like the waves have changed. And I do think it's time we look past the idea of things just being left and right, just being a spectrum of ideology. Because in my opinion, we're moving more so to a grid, which honestly makes the more sense. I drew this because I do think it's good to have a visual of what we're talking about. And the reason why I drew this is because I think even when you do a political test, I think people realize that there is a grid. I don't know where the sentiment of your ideology or where you lie regarding politics is just a binary one straight line. At this point, considering the fractionization of both the left and right, we need to move past it, because it doesn't matter if I agree with you regarding healthcare or guns. What really matters is, do you believe in certain principles that make up a state, that make up a nation, that make up a society? So right now, I wanted to low-key just put, do you care about Israel or not? for the memes, but let's be a little serious here for the commentary. So for me, when it comes down to it, it's really populist, non-populist on the streams for the up and down. And this is mostly the idea that all the elites are basically in control and all of them are bad if you're like an extreme populist, or if you're an extreme non-populist, you believe that the elites are not bad at all and they're just a function of the system. And then we went far left and right in terms of individual like liberty and responsibility. Far left is like complete individual liberty to the point where it's anarchy and you don't need a state. And then far right is where the state, the republic that we're talking about, is completely authoritarian. Now, in between that is like lib, so liberals being just more they believe in a state, but they think most of the responsibilities should be more localized to the point where you could even argue individualized. And then obviously a republic is a like collection of representatives chosen by the people who run the country. So to provide that little nuance, so it's really about, do we believe that the elites are controlling everything and how we believe that the country should be ran? We're really like backtracking to the point where we're not even focusing on ideologies, not focused on religion. We're focusing on how the hell should we run a country? And I'm kind of saddened that we're at the point where we have to question the right way to run the country. And it's very clear to me that for me, at the very least, I'm right dab in the middle when it comes down to this. I do believe in individual liberty. I do believe that we should have a republic, but it should be a nuance. It should be a balance. States should have more power. We should probably remove some influence from the federal government, and put more influence in the state government. But I still believe that very capable people should be the ones running things. But I do believe in individual liberty and growing the cachet of individuals so we have a better state in the first place. I do believe that there are very bad elites in there, but I don't believe all of them are bad. I don't believe everybody in government, other than this current fascist regime, typically are good faith actors. But I'm still not foolish to believe that at the end of the day, our system is creating a group of people that have way too much influence. So that's why I call myself the Purple Political Breakdown, because I do believe in nuance and I believe that there is a proper way to do things. And I think most of us should probably be closer to this center. This is the best way to be. Right now, I think most figures in politics are at the like insane parts of the aisle. Like this is probably the like least known one, like complete anarchists that do not believe in that the elites are there. Like these people just want the world to burn. These people typically don't exist. But of course, we have like complete no state should exist and all elites are bad. These are like very, very, probably very, very, very left wing, very radically socialist. These are probably where these people are. These people are my enemy. These are like all of MAGA right now, populist, but they also want Trump to have an authoritarian regime. Is it counterintuitive to believe in the idea that there's elites controlling everything, but I also want elites to control the state? Yes, it makes no fucking sense. And that's exactly the problem with MAGA. And this is why they're such hypocrites. Their whole philosophy makes no fucking sense. It doesn't. So that's why MAGA is dumb. And that's why they're also my enemy. And then these people type of that they don't believe that, things are, the elites are controlling everything. These are just like dictators. These are just bad people. Like these people are authoritarians who think that elites are not the problem, but elites take power and it's whatever. These people suck too. All these people at the edges are my enemy and they should be your enemy as well. And then the funny thing is, the reason why I made it like a grid like this and not based off an ideology is because there's other people on the left that also abide by this. Hassan Piker is also an enemy that aligns on this like top right fringe. This is why him and Fuentes are so similar. He believes in this like elite class, but he also wants to put more power in the government to push socialist policies. It doesn't make sense. It's counterintuitive. So we got people on the far fringes that are just like bad people on the same aisle that would result in the destruction of the government. Every edge case right here are destruction of the government. It's just this one right here on the top right is the one gaining all the power. I think people generally, like the people who actually think things through, typically are probably around the middle that believe in a type of republic. I'm going to extend this since like circle this Republican liberal. They believe in something like this. And this is where like most people are. This is like where most like sane political commentators probably are. This sweet spot right here. And identity doesn't matter. We can argue whether we believe in gun control, abortion rights. We can believe in like DEI policies. We can believe in certain very clear identities. And we have good faith conversation based off our principles. But we need to get rid of these people. We need to treat these people as the enemy. So right now, what's happening in politics is that these people have too much influence and power. We need to return to this. Politics is not a spectrum, and we should not be fighting amongst ourselves based off the rational people who just want a good state, a good nation, where the people who are very qualified can make good decisions. And if they're not, they held accountable. The rich people, yeah, you can have a good amount of money, but also pay back into it to help the other people who are not as capable. We should be working together, because in order for you to be super wealthy, the people on the bottom have to like buy your goods in the first place, buy your services in the first place. It should be a system, a cycle of cooperation. Different people are in different locations, but we all want to create the best nation possible. In order for us to do that, we need to clearly define who are our enemies.